Welcome back to the Mid-Range Podcast. My name is Jacob Weiss. I'm here with my co-host Bryce. Bryce, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Excited to talk ball.
Very excited. Obviously, as mentioned on the earlier pod this week, last week was a no episode week. You were going through it a little bit, but we're back to reality, back on the mic where we belong, where we were born to be. So
Exactly.
So we're going to do something a little different today, but we'll get into that later. Right off the top, I want to talk about the games from last night. And I actually didn't mention this before the pod, but there's also Clemson BYU. So we had three kind of big games, one of them including my team. We had Illinois, Ohio State. We had Clemson BYU. We had Florida UConn. Florida UConn kind of goes down to the wire. It looked like Xavier Lee maybe was picking it up. Nicky was cracking me up in the group chat, kind of like firing up, like, oh, he's back. And then you check the box score and you're like, oh, was he? But no, he looked better. And Florida looked competitive once again against a good team. I mean, they've looked competitive in a lot of these games. They look competitive with Duke, but they look competitive and they lose once again. So, and we were just talking about this before the pod, but with them having been the front runners alongside Kentucky and the SEC, is the SEC dead, Bryce?
I think when you look at it from last year's standpoint and just how, I guess you would say, dominant the SEC was from a just sheer standpoint of number of teams in the tournament and the non-con record that they had going into their conference play. Definitely taking a step back this year. There's definitely not that top-end team that I could say right now that I'm confident in the SEC that I'm just like they're national title contenders. So as an SEC fan, that's a little worrisome coming out of the conference just with how strong it was last year and kind of why is that and what's the reasoning behind it. Obviously, a lot of these teams have played tough opponents and, like Florida's played – top 10 team after top 10 team and taking a lot of these teams down to the wire but just can't seem to get over the hump and win a game. But teams like Kentucky have looked really bad. Teams, Tennessee hasn't looked good in their last three. Alabama's had some losses, but has looked, good. Auburn can't keep a game within 30. It's definitely there's some. It's time to start drawing some concern for the SEC. As we're going into this back end of December, going into conference play for the SEC, and it's kind of open this year. I mean, if you look at it from a record standpoint, your best team is Vanderbilt. Then coming into the year was not a team that I was really high on. So I would say the SEC's wide open, but I don't think there's that top end team this year. I wouldn't say anybody has a shot as of now to win March Madness. Obviously, when March happens, it happens, but there's definitely a level of concern. I would be concerned if I'm an SEC fan.
I mean, definitely, it's definitely down, and it's like, we're going to talk about this more later, but there's that old adage of the top 12 teams in Week 6, right? And we are now in Week 6. This is the Week 6 AP poll, so in theory, one of these 12 teams is going to win the national championship if it holds true from the last 20 years. And the only SEC team in the top 12 at this current standing is Alabama at 7-2. I mean, Vanderbilt at 9-0 with wins over St. Mary's and SMU should probably be up there, in my opinion, but they're not.
Yeah.
And, the old stat doesn't include teams that should have been in there. So it is a little bit like you got to wonder what's up next with the SEC and how it looks coming down the stretch. And per usual with the SEC, the depth of the conference is still pretty strong, obviously. Most of these teams have looked solid and are winning a decent amount of games. But what's different from last year is like you said, like that top end, it's where's the juice? Like where there's no Auburn this year. There's no Florida this year. There's no team that's coming out there like going down to the wire in what feels like like it doesn't feel like any of these teams are beating great teams. Aside from like Bama taking down Illinois, it just has looked like there's a lot more questions than answers with the conference. And credit to UConn too. Like I don't want to just be like, oh, like Florida sucks. It's like, yeah, UConn goes and gets another big win. They're 9-1 on the season. Wins over Florida, Kansas, Illinois, and BYU, with their only loss coming to number 1 Arizona. So they were pretty awesome. Solo Ball had a great game last night. It was kind of his, I thought, like, not like coming out party, but it was like good to see him kind of take control of the offense and be that top scorer for them. And I think for them, it looks like they are going into conference play seemingly miles ahead of St. John's. Now, I don't know if that holds true through the season. If, once conference play starts, it's a different story. I don't want to crown them champs before the games are played. But right now, they are looking exceptional. And they do look to be a step above the competition in the Big East. And the Big East might be bad. Like the Big East might be really bad, too. Speaking of bad conferences. Because it's almost looking like Seton Hall might be the third best team in the conference, and like Georgetown looked good, and now they aren't that good anymore. And then it's like I don't know, it's not great, but good win for UConn. Any thoughts on them, Dan Hurley?
Yeah, I thought getting Terrace Reed back last night was big for UConn. You always like to see when a guy comes back and has a good game, especially against a front court like Florida has. So that's good to see back for Dan Hurley. Like you said, I thought it was kind of Solo Ball's welcome to the season, kind of moment, and if he can grow on that, like you said, going into conference play, where I do also see them kind of top of the league there, and the next step's kind of quite a big step down. That's good to see for UConn. They're on the level of those top teams in the country. I thought for Florida, Xavier Lee played better. Still needs to be a little bit more efficient, especially from behind the arc. 1 for 7 from 3. If Florida wants to get back on track, I think they're 5-4 right now. If they want to get back on track, they got to get more production from Boogie Flan, and they got to get more production from Xavier Lee. College basketball is too much of a guard-led game in today's game that having this dominant front court can only get you so far. If you have a non-existent backcourt, then you're probably going to struggle. So got to get more efficiency from Xavier Lee. Got to get better play from Boogie Flan, especially in a game like that when you're playing a good backcourt against UConn. I thought they fought well. They got up early, then got down again, and then kept fighting back. But eventually you got to start winning some of these games. You can't just crown yourself and say, I competed. You got to start winning some of these games for that seeding in March and things like that. So I more credit to UConn than anything down on Florida there.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the thing is, it's like you said, like you got to win these games. It's like Arizona, wins by 6 over Florida, wins by 4 over UConn, wins by 4 over UCLA. Like, then they're number 1 in the country. Like, that's all you have. You just got to flip that switch by 5 points, and that is like. I do think like guard play and like especially like this idea of like point guard, true point guard, whatever, is a little overblown. But when it comes down to the last 5 minutes of the game, when you need someone to control the offense, like you need someone who can control that offense. And it doesn't actually have to be a point guard, as we see with Duke. Cam Boozer's not a point guard, but he's the one controlling the offense. But like, you need somebody who can do that and operate as like an offensive hub, and they just don't have it. Like they just don't have a player that can slow it down, and it's not great. And I think, I don't know. It'd be interesting to see.
It's good to have dominant bigs, and that's what Florida has. They have 2 to 3 bigs that are dominant, but they're not really getting much production from the guard play at all, in my opinion. Like going into the season, Boogie Flan, the expectations were high, especially on my end. Like the ROI on the NIL deal that I'm sure he got has probably not been exceeded at this point.
Do you know the
and just
number?
to be,
I got to
yeah, it's
Nikki
like
with him last episode.
it's high millions. I can't remember. I know he got his own shoe from some company. Yeah, $6 million. I thought that's what it was. So you're paying $6 million for 1 for 7 from 3. I know he had 19 points, but
you're playing $6 million for under 40%, under 30% from the field.
Even that, like you got to have something from your guards, and Florida's just not getting that right now. There has to be some sort of answer that Todd Golden finds. If it's some spark off the bench, if it's telling Lee, hey man, tonight's probably not your night from 3. Let's quit chucking up 7 threes a game if we're not going to hit them. Like there was one shot he shot last night. He was dribbling around, doing this, and then he stepped back, pulls up from 3 and air balls, and I'm like, what do we do? We're driving the ball well. We're getting to the free throw line, so we're yanking a 25, 30 foot. Like it's not what needs to be doing. It's not what Florida needs to be doing, and I feel like he's not playing efficient enough, and it's definitely a little bit worrisome though.
Yeah, I know, 100%. It's bad, and it is funny because it's like I watched Ohio State last night. Like I really watched Ohio State. Like that was like the game I watched intently last night. Obviously,
yep.
And, like you watch Bruce Thornton just make every shot, play the most incredible, efficient basketball. He only takes shots that he's gonna make. He shoots he starts the game 9 of 9, 6 of 6 from 3. He ends it with 35 points on 14 of 17 shooting or something crazy like that. Mm-hmm. And you go on Twitter and you see Ohio State fans, and this is I'm in an echo chamber, so whatever. This is very very personal, but I'm literally in the Ohio State basketball community on Twitter, and you just see all these people being he's got no killer instinct, he's got no clutch, he's not taking these shots. It's what do you want? Do you want Xavier Lee? No, you want a guy that takes he's a 75% true shooting. It's the most incredible efficiency from a guard you could ever ask for because he doesn't take bad shots. So that's good. That's not a bad thing. And with Ohio State's case, they don't have enough around him. But you look at Florida, it's they go to Princeton, they pay $6 million for this kid to come in and shot chuck, and it's what? You're telling me they couldn't come to Columbus and get Bruce Thornton on a $6 million to transfer to the reigning national champions if they wanted him? I don't even understand it. And, maybe Bruce Thornton is I fucking love Ohio State. I love Diebler. I'm not leaving. But, I don't think he's making $6 million, and I don't think Ohio State is Florida. So it's it just blows my mind, in 2025 when you know what this takes, that you're going to the Ivy League to go get this guy and try to, make something out of nothing or make chicken salad out of chicken shit, and it's
especially for the price tag. That's what gets me is Xavier Lee was really good at Princeton. Don't get me wrong, really good at Princeton. There was at times where I think he was on some radars of some NBA scouts just because of how good he was at Princeton. But you always got to take into play of this next step into college basketball, the Ivy League and playing UConn and playing Arizona and playing, Duke, it's a totally different style of basketball. It's not the same. And, his style of play at Princeton was exactly how he's playing at Florida, and that just doesn't work in that style of basketball. And I was not as crazy high on Xavier Lee as others. Personally, I was super high on Boogie Flan just because he's done it before. He's done it in the SEC, so I was high on him. But you got to hit on these portal guys. We're seeing that now, especially at Florida. And to this point, I think we're seeing a trend. It's just they didn't, and we're 6 weeks in at this point. Once a trend starts to trend, it's usually it's what he is. So there's always a turnaround. I hope he turns it around. Florida was my national championship pick before the season started, so I'm looking really stupid right now. But it's something's got to give for Florida to start winning these games, and I think what's gonna get them over the hump of these 5-point losses, these 3-point losses, and turning them into wins is, like you said, 5-minute mark. That guard is leading the offense and pulling them to a win instead of throwing up shots all game.
Yeah. No, it's a problem. Like, it's just a problem, and like their guard play is such a problem, and like we can just keep saying it on every podcast because it's true, and it's like their guard play sucks, and like
especially from going from last year to this year, it's just like what?
Yeah,
like
it's like they thought that like every high scoring 3-point shooting guard in the mid major was Walter Clayton. Like it's just like it's actually not how it works. You actually have to like Walter Clayton was actually just really good, and like you got to be able to figure that out. And maybe we're not dealing out $6 million to some kid from Princeton like that. That is what blows my mind. Like you said, like it's just like is a non-proven commodity. And also, we were talking about this on the last podcast too, so there's a lot of reiterating, but it's fine. I mean, whatever. We're just talking college ball. Boogie Flan wasn't that great last year. Like, he wasn't incredible. Like, I'm not saying he wasn't a good player. He wasn't important for a team that won a couple tournament games. Like, don't get me wrong. But, like, in terms of the full body of the season, he was good, not great. And, like, it's the same thing with Lowe, who goes to Kentucky, where it's like, yeah, he was good, or he was okay. He wasn't great. And now you're like, we just think this guy is going to like level up because he's coming to our system and our system works and whatever. It's almost like, it's like bravado. Like, it's like, oh, like, well, it'll work for us because we're Florida and I'm Todd Golden. Like, it's going to work for me. It's like, whatever. It didn't, obviously. And it doesn't look great for them. It's hilarious that Florida and Kentucky are 5-4 and 6-4 respectively.
Yeah. I will say that the Florida 5-4 and the Kentucky 6-4 is, in my opinion, a little bit different. Kentucky has just looked absolutely putrid in their 6-4. Like there hasn't been a single moment where I'm like, they're a competitive basketball team. Like Florida has at least been competitive in these games. It's not been like blowouts. Kentucky, and you might have already touched on this with Nick in the last week's pod or Tuesday's pod, but Kentucky got absolutely dominated by Gonzaga. Like that's a different type of loss. Like that's a whole different conversation that we can go down a rabbit hole on. It's just like that team just doesn't work. The whole system just doesn't work. And maybe it's time. And let me tell you, Kentucky fans, that JQ isn't going to come in, a guy that scored 8 points last year, and I know he's this 5-star 16, 17-year-old, whatever he is, blah, 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 5, whatever pick. That ain't fixing that. That ain't fixing that. They need more than that. That ain't fixing that. So, but I think there's a little bit of a difference in Florida's 5-4 and Kentucky's 6-4. It's been a different level of play.
No, that's fair. That's fair, but it's like, I mean, not only were these two teams the top contenders in the SEC, it's like these were like two of the most popular national championship picks in the country, and like at this current juncture, they both just like suck. Like
$22 million, I would be. They should be high on a lot of people's list for a national championship.
Yeah. Well, it's crazy. We can move on from that game. I love that we went a quick 18 minutes on Florida because they just suck.
Poor Todd Golden.
Poor Todd Golden. It's all right. He'll find comfort somewhere. But moving on, Clemson BYU. I was watching Illinois Ohio State this game. I did turn it on. I saw it was 5 seconds left, tie game. So I turned it on my phone and I watched the buzzer beater. What a shot! Like incredible,
incredible.
And like he's that guy. Like Rob Wright is really good. He's pretty awesome.
He is. That whole team, the whole BYU team, to be down 21.5 and then just say, "We're gonna win this game." Like we're just gonna win because we have probably one of the best freshmen in the country. We have Rob Wright, we have Richie Saunders, and we have Keepa Keita. So. My issue with the buzzer beater thing is so at the end of the game, Clemson goes and ties it, okay, to tie it up, and then you let them get set up, and then no pressure on the ball to throw the ball in. So we then let them walk it up the court to then get another timeout. Like, why are we not putting some pressure on them to potentially force a turnover or force a quick shot instead of a timeout? No, we're going to let them walk the ball up to then call another timeout so they can get a set shot off of an inbounds. Just completely terrible coaching. Deserved to hit that game winner. Congratulations to BYU because that was horrible coaching in my opinion.
It was awesome because it was kind of like it was like double shitty coaching. It's like he runs up, calls a timeout. It's like, oh, they're gonna run a play. It's like the fuck. There was no plan on the out of bounds. Rob Wright just ends up coming and being like, give me the ball, and just puts it up. And he drilled it, but it was like there was no. Like
it was no play. It was just shoot it over two people and hope it goes in. But to even give them a chance to do that, in my opinion, is just that was Clemson's coach just freaking out and like, we're in this game. How did we come back from 5 with a minute left? Now what do I do?
It was quintessential college basketball ending for sure. That's just like
that's the perfect way to put it. Is I would expect nothing less.
Yeah, it's awesome. That's why college is awesome. It's hilarious, and it's like.
But no, BYU,
where you just know there's going to be a buzzer beater. Like
yes. Oh, you knew that was going in.
I was like, I gotta turn this on. I know it's going to be a buzzer beater.
Yeah, you knew 1,000% that whoever had that ball last was going to win that game off of something.
Yeah.
Especially after that Clemson goes and just throws up some threes at the end of the game to continue to put them in the game. Then they miss the free throw and they just come down and give it to a guy that I can't remember who hit the game winner. I think it might have been Dylan Hunter that hit it. That kind of just goes up and BYU just kind of stops playing defense on him for a portion of the time, and he throws it up and it goes in, and then you just knew that they're going to come down and they're going to hit a game winner. But no, good win for BYU. The fact that they came back down 21 at half and won that game, that's big. That's a big thing for December, in my opinion. That's a good good win, a good battle tested win against a pretty good Clemson team. They're not top level or anything, but that's a good Clemson team on a neutral site, a long way from home. So that's a good win.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where it's like you lose that game, we're having especially like you're down 20 at halftime, like you said, like you lose that game by 20, we're having a conversation. Like, okay,
absolutely.
Maybe we need to pump the brakes on BYU, but AJ DeBanza takeover. And we're like, this kid's awesome, and they're one of the best teams in the country still.
He is different. He is different. Like the way he can just find his shot in that offense is so. To see a 5-star do that, man, it's nice.
We don't have to.
So nice.
I'm sorry, I know it must be a sensitive subject right now. Don't worry, I'm sure Field of 68 still has a men going higher than him in the mock.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure.
No, you know who I see a little bit with DeBanza offensively, and I think he's a great defender too, but I'm not going to put him on this guy's level. But he's got a little Kawhi Leonard to him.
Yeah.
With the way he gets to his spots, and he just gets those long arms on the mid-range jumper. So it doesn't matter how you're guarding him. He's just long enough, and he can rise up, and he just shoots this mid-range at such an elite efficiency, which is the same thing with Kawhi. And DeBanza with Kawhi too is you watch them dribble or you watch them operate. It's not flashy, but it's just efficient. It's just get to the right spot, get the shot, make the shot. Just get the buckets. You're making offense out of nothing with him. And no, he's unbelievable. He's
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
So my favorite play from him last night, it wasn't even when he scored it. So he was doing, he's getting to the middle of the paint, free throw line. He loves that little free throw line pull up. So instead of forcing a pull up on two guys, Kibikeda's guy comes to him, dishes it off. That's when I knew that's the next step for DeBanza, and to see him do that at that age. Normally, as a 5-star freshman, they're taking that shot, but to see him act like little pump fake and then pass it off, and then Kibikeda broke the goal and has to stop the game. So that right there was okay, yeah, this guy's different. But yeah, the Kawhi Leonard, that's a perfect representation. Obviously not on the defensive end yet, but offensively, that's a really good comparison.
Yeah, he's that guy. Rob Wright is that guy too. Obviously, what a shot!
Yeah.
And good game as well for him and for Clemson. It's like like you said, like Clemson is kind of that generic good team. Like if you want to be the best team and if you want to be a national championship team, you got to be Clemson.
Yep.
And if you don't beat Clemson, then we start asking, are you a national championship team?
Yep.
So they pass the test in that respect. All right, let's push onwards. I mean, Michigan kicked the shit out of Villanova. Michigan's incredible. We could talk about them more once we get on to the next part of the pod because they are incredible. Don't get me wrong. But we should let's talk a little Ohio State, Illinois. Ohio State could have won this game. I mean, like Ohio State was in it. Like if they make a few more free throws and if Devin Royal shot 4 of 15 from the field, and like I think 10 of those shots that he missed were just like get the ball at the elbow, dribble in, step back mid-range, brick. Like he just kept on taking this garbage shot over and over. And like, Mobley wasn't perfect, but like, you see Ohio State Twitter is like hates Mobley because he shoots a lot of threes and they're all old like Ohio people. So like they get all mad about it. And yeah, he didn't play great. Like obviously he didn't play great. He went 4 of 11 from the field, 1 of 6 from 3. But he tries. Like he works so hard. He's looking to create offense when he has the ball in his hands. And when he's on defense, he's hustling and he's working hard. Royal was just not working hard enough. Tilly looked so soft last night. Like he could not guard anybody, and he was just like soft. Like he wouldn't go hard for a rebound. He wouldn't go up hard to score. And like, somehow you go into halftime, you're down 6 points because Bruce Thornton had like 24 points on like 9 of 10 shooting. It was like the most incredible Bruce Thornton game. He is like he's an All-American caliber player. Yeah. I don't know if he's going to make it or not, but he is so good. I cannot believe he is literally like the meme of like the Ferrari and like the project.
Yeah.
Like that is Bruce Thornton. Like I don't know what he's doing in Columbus, Ohio, but like thank God for him because he makes Ohio State basketball watchable. He is incredible. I thought this was like a big time like Diebler disaster class. It was like, so he did this. This was something I noticed early on. They talked about it, like Fansa talked about it on the podcast, but it just came to mind, and like I want to talk about it on the podcast. But they kept doubling the post up. So like they would have like it would be Ivicic would be in the post, or Mirkovic would be in the post, or even like Boswell post up sometimes. Like whoever had the ball, even Stojakovic would have it. They'd get in the post and they'd turn. And the second they turn, Ohio State would send a defender. But the I don't know if this is on Diebler or what, but like they wouldn't blitz. Like it was just like a double. And it wasn't like it didn't look intentional and it didn't look like fast enough. And what would happen every time, like if you go back and watch this game, it literally happened 20 times. Is they would come over with the double, the guy would just turn around and be like, "Oh, he's wide open." Give him the ball, and they would make a wide open three. Like the amount of wide open threes Illinois had tonight. Like Keaton Wagler is a good player. Like he's a good player. He's like the 150th, I think, recruit or something this year. Like he's impressive for like what he was. I saw they put on the broadcast only 2 D1 offers. Like good for him. Like he's a badass. Like he played really well in this game away from home and like made a lot of clutch shots for them. But they left him wide open. Every three he made, he just drilled wide open threes. And it was just so frustrating, like, watching Ohio State just double, and just leave guys wide open when they just kept getting it to the open guy. And, like, it's so frustrating when your team just does the same shit over and over, and it just doesn't fucking work. And you're, like, sitting there, like, my girlfriend's sitting next to me, and I'm just losing my mind. And she's just, like... She just thinks I'm insane, and I'm like I can't explain how much this pisses me off. And Jake Diebler needs to fucking use a challenge once in a while. Like you get 2 challenges now. You use them. Like you have to use them. Why are you not? Why are we ending the game with timeouts left over? Like you have these. Like there was so this has happened in multiple games, but it was like definitely noticeable in this one where like the ball would go out. Tilly or Knoll or whoever's down low is like, It's off of him. It's off of him. Like, replay. It's like going to Diebler, like, replay. They would show the replay on TV and be like, oh, he's right. The ball did go off of him. And he just never uses one. Like, it's so frustrating. This is like going, oh my God. Like, going from like, Ohio State football to Ohio State basketball is like, it's the most like insane, like, oh my God, am I going crazy? Like, this, why are we so ass? Like, why are we so ass? But also, we lost by 8 to the number 13 team in the country. It's not actually that big of a deal.
What I will say, so obviously Tennessee just played Illinois as well on Saturday night. The doubling in the post thing is something that Tennessee also did, especially late in the game, ended up getting Big Z to just wide open threes that he knocked down to kind of seal the deal for Illinois. But their interior to exterior passing at Illinois is some of the best I've seen in the country. Those big men are obviously they're looking to score inside, but I think almost their first instinct, because they're going to get – it seems like they're expecting a double team, but their shooters are also really aware of the spots to find that open three. They did it so many times against Tennessee. It was the same thing that you're talking about that Tennessee did, where they would double team and then they'd just find a wide open three. And they'd hit it. And then we continued to switch on I feel like what I've noticed these past 2 games that I've watched Illinois is they're a matchup nightmare. Like, truthfully, they're a matchup nightmare because they're huge. Boswell is a very big point guard. He's like I said, he's posting guys up. Stojakovic can post guys up. Like, obviously they have 2 7-footers in the Ivisic brothers. Like, they're a nightmare to match up with, and I get it for a coach because you want to double team, you're trying to force a bad pass out, but when you got guys that make good passes out of the post, sometimes you just got to say, okay, if they hit a 2, they hit a 2. I'd rather give them a 2, a tough contested 2, and get the rebound instead of a wide open 3, especially when you got guys like Wagler who is just shooting lights out, and they got guys that can shoot all over the floor. I didn't watch much of that. I was glancing at it, but I understand where it's coming from, but I also think it's credit to Illinois and Underwood and just how well he recruited this roster, and they're playing how he wants them to play, and they're just a nightmare. They're going to be a nightmare for the Big Ten this year, and just the style of play and just how big they are. They're so big. They all can shoot. For the most part, they shot 40% last night from 3. If you're shooting 40%, you're going to win a lot of games.
I think it was Ivisic. Now that I'm thinking about it, it might have been Mirkovic. No, I don't know, whatever. It was either Ivisic or Mirkovic, but, they're both huge. And, he just dribbles into a 3 with Bruce Thornton right in his face and just, drills it. And it's like, are you, what are we going to do about this? And, no, and you're right. And, to be fair to Ohio State, they actually, in the second half, Diebler implemented this kind of it was like a 2-3-3-2 kind of combo zone look where they had they would go Mobley and Thornton up top and then kind of build out from the middle. So it kind of had gaps down near the post, but they were trapping on the wings and kind of getting 2 guys on you on the wings, and that worked. They had them in hell with that for a while, and it looked like OSU was getting back in the game because they were playing great defense for a minute. It ended up falling apart. I mean, Ohio. I bitch and complained enough, but Ohio State, I thought fought well, and Illinois is a better team than Ohio State. We knew that coming into the season, and we still know that. So I'm not gonna you go on Twitter, you would think that they lost to St. Francis. It's crazy, but whatever. I saw multiple people be like, would you rather miss the tournament this year and get Diebler fired or make the tournament and have him stay another year? Dude, we just got a 5-star recruit for next year because of Diebler. What are you talking about?
Why would we not want to make the tournament? What? That's such the oh my God, that mindset with fans kills me. It's do we not want to be good this year so XYZ gets fired? Yes, we want to be good this year. If they're good this year, they're probably good. That's such a stupid philosophy.
It's the dumbest argument of all time. if we're bad, he'll get fired. If we're good, he won't. No
Yeah,
shit.
like, yeah.
No shit. And also, that just means you're wrong. If we're good, then you're wrong.
Correct.
So,
Correct.
Oh my god, it is mind numbing. I was getting mad at the game, and then I would look at my phone, and I would be like, get even madder, and like it was just a cycle of madness.
I try to stay off social media during games because the Twitter, Twitter and message boards during games, basketball, it's the world's worst because I feel like in basketball, it's such a sport where if you know what you're talking about, you understand it. But if you don't, it's just like looking at a box score almost. So it's like all these people are like, oh, I mean, there's been people, and not to kind of go to Tennessee or not in anything, but they're like, oh, I'm tired of Rick Barnes, like blah 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 blah. I'm like, Rick Barnes has taken us to 2 Elite Eights that has been done once before, like back to back. Like, what do you mean you're tired of Rick Barnes? Like, the Twitter world in college basketball from a fan base is just like, especially from like a predominant, like growing up, like obviously Tennessee is more of a football school than anything, just from history. Basketball has never been like the sport, but for me as like a basketball guy, it's like, I want to be really good at basketball, but it's so hard to be on social media during this because these dudes on Twitter, and they're just idiots. Like, they have no common sense. They're like calling for Barnes' head and, Jacoby's this, he's not this, or, Rick Barnes broke Nate Ament. Like, there was a comment, and we can stop talking about this after this. There was a comment
awesome
2 years ago. There was a comment 2 years ago when Dalton Knecht didn't have his 25-point outing where he had like 10 points. He had a bad night. That said, Rick Barnes broke Dalton Knecht. He averaged like 21 points a game under Rick Barnes and was a top pick because of Rick Barnes. Like, I need to just get off social media is what I'm kind of understanding from this conversation. So.
It's totally.
But
it is a cesspool. And then the funniest part is like, when we beat Notre Dame, like this Twitter group is like, we're so good, Chris is so awesome. And it's like,
it's such mixed emotions. It's like, it kills me.
It's
kills
incredible.
me.
But that's what's awesome. I mean, that is like, it's also like the best part of college basketball. Like the when you said the Rick Barnes ruined Ament thing, like that is like so awesome that someone believes that, and like that shit does rock. But like. Yeah, when you're in the moment and you're pissed about a game, it's like it is, and you're getting like rage baited by the internet. It's like
that's the issue, and I get rage baited too is the problem. It's like I want to comment back, but I'm not going to.
That's my biggest problem. Is I'll like every now and then I'll just start firing back, and I'm like, Jacob, what are you?
Oh,
doing?
I used to. I used to, and I'm like, dude, this is a public image for me. Like, my name is on this. Like, I should probably not say that.
That's hilarious. No, yeah. All right. On that note, let's move on to the this segment for today's episode. You wanna explain it? Is this kind of your brainchild?
Yeah. So, obviously, college basketball fans, Week 6 AP poll, the top 12 teams are kind of your national champions. For the past 20 years, if you're in the top 12 during the Week 6 AP poll, we know that one of these 12 teams are going to be your national champions. So what I thought we could do is go through these 12 teams, and we can say either they're a contender or they're a pretender. So we'll talk about each one. We can go into depth as much as we want, but ultimately – contender or pretender, and we'll go through them. And we can do this. We'll go one outside of the top 12 just in case it happens this year. So we'll do one outside of the top 12 that is a contender, that we think is a contender, and we can come to those. We'll do those last. So top 12 teams.
Start at 12 or start at 1? Yeah.
We'll start it. Let's start it. Let's mix it up because I feel like if we do 12, then we're just going to go pretend. Let's mix it up. So I'll keep track here. We'll start. I'll just name them off. Let's start with Houston. What do we think on Kelvin Sampson and Houston? We think contender or pretender?
Houston's actually a good one to start with because it's interesting. Because they are 8-1. They have a win. They win by 1 point at Auburn. They win overtime against Syracuse, and they lose to Tennessee in the Players era. Their only loss is to Tennessee in the Players era, but also, like, no offense, how good is Tennessee, and how good is Auburn, and how good is Syracuse? Like, so it's like I'll stake my claim now. I'm gonna go pretender for Houston. I don't think this Houston team is national title good. I think that they are kind of a powder keg waiting to explode. Like, they don't have their best player right now. Well, I mean, Sharp is right there with him, but Sharp and Flemings have been exceptional. Especially Flemings has been exceptional, like awesome. No, Flemings has been their best player, and it's like Flemings has been their best player as a true freshman. The whole idea with this team, and we've talked about this before too, but it's like this idea that they have Uzan, Sharp, and JoJo Tugler, and these are 3 of the best 30 players in college basketball returning for a team, and they're going to add these 2 5-stars that are going to take them above the top. What's really happened is they've needed Fleming, who's one of those 2 5-stars, and Sinak's been good too, but I think Fleming's really been the star of the show, to carry them to wins. Like, they have needed every Kingston Fleming bucket, or Kingston Fleming's bucket. They have needed him down the stretch of every game. Like, they're in these close games. And you're like, yeah, you're in a close game. You win by 1 at Auburn. We said at the time, like, that doesn't look great for Houston. And, like, you know, you lose to Tennessee, and it's like right after going to overtime with Syracuse, and Syracuse might be good. They're not great. So if we're talking about national championship contention, I don't think Houston's resume is that exceptional right now. And, like, based off what we've seen, and now Kelvin Sampson in the past has started a little slow and picked it up and gotten to, like, that level. Obviously, last season included. I think you mentioned this a few episodes ago, but I think they were 2-2 to start the season, or
4-3
along those lines.
Yeah.
4-3 to start the season. So yeah, I guess Kentucky still has a chance. But you know, this Houston team is not 4-3. They're 7-1 or 8-1, and I don't feel great about them. So I'll go pretender for Houston. I'll put my foot down on that.
I'm gonna. It's tough because betting against Kelvin Sampson makes you
that is the part of it.
Ugh.
And they're 8-1. Like, and they also beat.
I'm gonna still go contender. I'm gonna still go contender with Houston. I think looking back at last year, like I said, they were 4-3 to start the year. This year they started 8-1. They don't really have that signature win right now. Best win is Auburn on a neutral site, which they won by 1 point. And as we've seen, Auburn just is not the greatest. You go into overtime against Syracuse, who I don't think Syracuse is bad. And I'm not just saying that because Tennessee lost to them, but I think Syracuse is a good basketball team. And then you lose to Tennessee, who were, jury's still out on what is Tennessee at this point. So is that a good loss? Is that a bad loss? We don't know. Then you beat Notre Dame. But so they don't have that signature win just yet. But if there's going to be a coach throughout these 12 teams that I trust to get their team to a contender by the time, March rolls around, it's going to be Kelvin Sampson. I think Kingston Flemings is a stud. I think, Sinak's played well. I think Emmanuel Sharp is really good. Miles Uzan is really good. I'm going to go contender still with them, but it's definitely on the fence as a contender for me. So, but I would still put them as a contender.
I think they are very much they are kind of in the same zone. They're like, kind of to me in my head, which is like they're not that different from Tennessee. It's just that Tennessee has lost a couple of these games and Houston wins them. And I don't think like you said, like jury is very much out on Auburn and the jury is very much out on Tennessee. And Syracuse I think is a tournament team.
Yeah,
I will say that. But they're like Clemson. Like it's like these are tournament teams. These aren't contenders. So I'm not gonna give you a ton of, and also Donnie Freeman didn't play against Houston.
Yeah.
So that was overtime of Kean Anthony, going to war with what has been. Also, I will say their defense has not been exceptional, and that's kind of been the what's the word, the trademark of Houston basketball and their Kelvin Sampson.
Yeah.
And they're going to have plenty of opportunities to prove themselves because of how good the Big 12 is. Like, it's going to be a war, and like they're going to have to play BYU and Iowa State and Arizona, who we'll continue to talk about in this little segment. But like, they have not. I think those three teams are all better than them at right now.
Yeah.
Like, I think they proved more undoubtedly. So yeah, I'll say pretender. Like, I don't think that they've looked good enough to win a national championship, to be honest.
That's fair.
Even if I thought so before the hit the next one.
Okay, let's go. We'll go a top team. Let's go Duke. Thoughts on Duke?
See, I want to say it. I want to say it so bad. Like, I was literally thinking about this on my drive home today. Like, I want to say it, but like, I just don't know if I can. If you want to go ahead, I need to take a few deep breaths before I talk about it.
Yeah. No, I'm contender. I like this Duke team. Best freshman in the country, best player in the country. The pieces around them: Isaiah Evans, Caleb Foster, Dame Sarr, the other Boozer. I like the way this roster is constructed for John Shire. They got good wins. They beat Florida, and jury's out on Florida still, but you beat Florida. You win these games. Here's the key: you win these games. You go to Michigan State and beat Michigan State.
Yeah, that's the best.
You beat Kansas by 12, and then you run Texas the first night of the year. And then also beat Arkansas. So it's like bunch of good wins. I don't think they had that Michigan State's a really good win. That might be their staple win, but I don't think they have that staple win just yet. But I like this roster for Duke. Cam Boozer is continuously just been dominant. So I'm going to go contender for Duke.
I'm going to talk about it before I decide. Because I don't want to be I'm not trying to be hot take. This is I'm trying to be completely honest, how I actually feel. I don't think that their supporting cast is good.
That's fair.
Honestly, it's not even I don't think they're great. We talked about this with Nikki the other day, but I don't think Caleb Foster or Isaiah Evans or Sarr even have actually looked that great. Ngongba has probably been as good as he, in that role, he's probably been just about perfect. And him and Boozer as a front court is kind of just what you need when it's the elite offensive guy and the elite defensive guy. And Cam Boozer, like you said, I completely agree. I think he's the best player in the country. Not even close. As of right now, he has proven that he is elite. But I just it's looked shaky. They are 10-0, but it's looked shaky, and it's looked shaky against Arkansas and Florida. Not against, Arizona and Michigan, right? Arkansas and Florida, who the jury is still very much out on those teams too. And it's Cam Boozer, and they beat Kansas, but let me make sure I'm right. Yeah, no DP in that game either. So That's a good win. I don't know. I see Cam Boozer as the best player in the country and one of the best offensive players maybe I've ever seen. When I watch him play, I'm this guy literally controls everything. And then they aren't getting 70 points against Florida or Michigan State, and Isaiah Evans is going making 1 of 6 for threes, and Caleb Foster I think he's a good supplemental role player, but I don't think he's exceptional. They don't have a second guy, and maybe you don't need a second guy in college the same way you do in pro, but I just I think there's something missing, and I think it seems it's a hot take thing when they're 10-0 and they're third in the country and Cam Boozer's the best player in the country, and I'm gonna say contender because I do think when you have a player that good, you probably are you probably just have to say that guy is good enough to make them a contender. But as I've said over text, and as I said with Nikki on last week's podcast, I think he's a terrible defender. I don't think people are talking about enough how bad of a defender he is, and they're just glossing over it. And I've gotten in arguments in Instagram comment sections where I'm being told he's actually great when he's in space. I'm what are you watching? He gets in space, he gets torched every time. and he's like fouling, 40 feet behind the 3-point line, whatever. So I'm gonna say Contender because they're 10-0 because they have the best player in the country, and I'll try to be honest, but I want it on the record that I don't think they would be near the bottom of my Contenders list. That's what I will say.
And what I'll say, and I know year to year in college basketball doesn't mean much anymore with all the transfers and all that stuff, but like last year's Duke team was better than this year's Duke team. So what I will say with your argument is like last year's Duke team was a lot. Last year's Duke team would beat this year's Duke team by 10 plus.
Yes.
So if John Shire didn't get it done in last year's team, I get your point that like this year's roster's not even close to last year's roster. And I know March is March, like things happen. They probably still had the best team in the country last year, but like
for sure. I mean, they were a
there's teams
over the back haul.
Yeah. Yeah, there's teams better. And one thing I will say quickly on Cam Boozer is that is my biggest concern with him going into the next level is offensively, he's fantastic, but defensively, he's very undersized in my opinion, and that's been a hot take for people, but I think he's very, very undersized for today's NBA and his style of play.
I don't understand why
I got crucified for saying this on a message board of like Cam Boozer is great in college. He's been great. But like once he gets to the pros, these dudes are doing this at 7 foot tall and he's 6'9". Like
100%.
Like that's where I don't get like the top 5 pick for me thing in Cam Boozer. I personally, I don't get paid money to scout these guys. I don't get paid money to make these picks, but he would not be in my top 5 personally because of that reason.
Yeah. I think I got in the same argument, and the thing is, like, he might be, and like, this is so hyperbolic, but like, he might be like a generational offensive player. Like, he might just like when you watch him, he does look like Jokic. Like, he just controls everything, and like, I think like he had like 2 assists last game. He could have had like 12. Like, every pass goes to the right place. Every dribble is deliberate. Every bucket is like earned. And like, but he's under the rim and he's not that athletic and he's not, and if you want to talk about draft wise or like NBA wise, he's not big enough to play the 5. So like, he's going to be a matchup issue in the NBA. He's like similar to like how he's better than Derek Queen, but there's a similarity there of like, Derek Queen goes to the NBA and like he gets picked a little lower than people maybe thought he should, and like you're like, oh, look at him, he's scoring a lot, and it's like, yeah, but he can't guard. Like, he can't guard modern day wings, and he can't be an interior defender. So like, that's just not going to work. Yeah. But he might be transcendent. So I mean, that's beside the point. But yeah, Duke, I think we're both going Contender, but like I have major questions, and I won't be fucking silenced. All right, like I want that on the record.
So I just got I just want this to be really quick because you're an Ohio State fan. I want to get your reaction on this. I just got breaking news from someone that Sharon Moore has been detained by police after the firing. I just want to get your live reaction to this from an Ohio State fan. This is real. ESPN just reported that he's been detained by the police in Michigan on Wednesday.
Oh, no, I know why. Because he gave like this girl that he was like screwing or whatever. Like, he like it's in like the records. It's like they had like, the other people at her position were making like $50,000 and then she was making like 100. So it's like,
okay.
That's why I saw that on Twitter like right before we hopped on. And I think he like defrauded the state of Michigan. Like, that is like what that is. I mean, like, Michigan is a public entity and like, yeah, it's awesome. That's my answer. It's sick. Like, yeah.
Okay.
I hope he goes to prison for the rest of his life. John Harbaugh too.
Okay, so this is going to be my favorite reaction I'm going to let you do most of the talking on this team because I know you're the biggest fan of them. So let's go Purdue.
Purdue. Is it even an upset if you beat Purdue?
No.
See, the thing is, though, like, yeah, they are. And, like, I know they just got their ass kicked by Iowa State. And, like, I know I love to shit on Purdue, and, like, we kind of both have a little bit of an agenda against Purdue, I think, because of the Fletcher Lawyer dilemma. But,
yeah,
honestly, like, I watched this team play Alabama, and Alabama's a damn good team. And I watched this team play Texas Tech and completely demolish them at every facet. And
Yeah.
I think Iowa State, who we'll get to, is a really good team. And like I do think like if you have guard play at the level of Braden Smith and you have TKR, and then you have like just great supplemental players everywhere else. Like Meyer didn't play well against Iowa State, but he is a good player. And Lawyer is not a top 10 shooting guard in the country, but he is a great shooter, and he's a great option to have off ball. Clough is a truly elite rebounder, truly elite finisher. Like their defense is a problem, and I'm not gonna like completely skate that by, but like I think the fact that they got trounced by Iowa State and they only scored 58 points that's gonna be the anomaly. Like that's not the standard for them, and like I would have come into the season being like they are overrated, and I think watching them play in the rest of the body of work, I think they are contenders. I think that they are still really good, although I think that there are two Big Ten teams better than them, but I think they're all contenders. So I do think Purdue is a contender, and I think as much as I would love to do that, I think Purdue is better than Duke. I'll say that.
Yeah.
I do think so.
Yeah, no, I agree. Contender, I know we like to shit on them, but I think Purdue's a contender. I think the offense is fantastic. Braden Smith's great. TKR's great. Like you said, I think the Iowa State loss and the 58 points and the blowout, I think that's going to be the anomaly of the year, and that's not going to happen again. And they're going to have a lot of tests throughout the Big Ten. The Big Ten's, strong this year, so contender. Unfortunately, they're a contender. It's like
you lost to undefeated Iowa State, who already beat St. John's, destroyed Syracuse, beat Mississippi State, and beat Creighton. So it's just like every opportunity Iowa State had to prove it, they proved it, and then you probably didn't give them enough credit. And they Nikki said this on last pod, but it's like Iowa State. Let's just go right into Iowa State after this because it will fit well. Like Iowa State beat them at their own game and just totally iced out TKR with Momcilovic, and Jefferson is on probably the short list for Player of the Year, right? If you're right after Cam Boozer. Taman Lipsey is an awesome point guard who just completely controls the offense, and you got boat race, and you got to come back and learn from that, because I'm sure you saw the stat, but it was the biggest loss for a number one team at home, tied for in history. So that sucks, and you can't just let that go like it didn't happen. But man, Iowa State's really good, and they have a lot of really good players with a lot of experience. And Momcilovic, dude, when he's on, he is. I said this to Nikki on last pod, but he's my second favorite player I think in the country to watch when he's on. He's just so that's flow state basketball. It's so pretty, and that fade away mid range. They are contenders, and they might be. I don't know. They aren't the number one team because we're going to get to the number one team, but they are. Yeah. They are right there. They are right there. They're awesome.
Yeah.
Iowa State contenders and Purdue contenders.
Yeah. All you just said is all accurate for Iowa State. That's got to be the best win in the country, right? Going into Purdue and beating them by that much to this point.
Yeah.
Their
that's the best
offensive
win you could literally have.
Yeah.
Any season.
So,
now, you could.
Yeah, Ken Palm, they're 6 on offense, 2 on defense, and Iowa State is kind of known for their defense. So to have an offense to kind of back that defense this year, that's just that next step for Iowa State. They're a contender. They're up there with the big dogs for me. So love Iowa State. Let's see. We've got Purdue.
Since you mentioned Ken Palm, for who we've talked about so far, Duke is 4th in Ken Palm. Iowa State is 2nd. Purdue 6th. Houston is 11th. So just for the record, that is the current standing of the teams we've spoke about so far.
Let's see. So we did Houston, Purdue, Iowa State, Duke. Let's go a team we talked about a little bit earlier. Let's go BYU. So they're 10th in the AP, and I'll just go ahead and say they're KenPom as well. They are also 10th in KenPom. So, thoughts?
Why don't you lead us off with BYU, and I'll think
Okay.
about it. Sure.
So, this one's tough. Because I really like them, but I'm gonna go contender. Or sorry, pretender. I just don't think they're at the level of the teams that I've already said are contenders so far.
Yeah.
I know they beat Clemson last night, and you're supposed to beat teams like that, but getting down in a deficit of 21 points in the first half and scoring 22 points in the first half is something that is just hard for me to overlook. They don't really have that, like, big win yet. The best team they beat is Wisconsin in a neutral site. And then their next best win is Miami. They don't necessarily have that big win yet. Dayton is good. Dayton's good, but I don't. I like their roster. I like the way it's constructed. I love AJ Diabonsa and Richie Saunders, and Rob Wright is a dog. But, like, I'm not ready to put BYU up there with the other teams in the contender list yet. So right now I'm going to go pretender.
I will say I also want to say contender, but when you actually look at their resume, it's not great. I mean, like,
Yeah.
They go down to the wire. I mean, I remember night one, they went down to the wire with Villanova. Like, that was a legit close game going into the end, and, like, you know, they beat the brakes off Wisconsin. But, I mean, how good is Wisconsin really anyway?
Yeah.
And, like, you know, they finished 82-86 with UConn. They fought back in that game for sure, but that was kind of a late rally. I'm gonna say contender, because here's why I'll say contender is because, like, the talent is there, and, like, there's elite talent top to bottom. Like, their starting five is as good as anyone's. Like, Rob Wright, Saunders, DeBonsa, Keita. I guess I'll say their top four is as good as anyone in the country. Like, Kennard Davis is a good player too, but I mean, he's a little under that. But you know what I mean? Like, it's an elite top four. It's like an elite defensive center, an elite number one scorer. Richie Saunders is as good a second fiddle as there is, if you even want to say he's a second fiddle, because might just be the best player. And Rob Wright is an elite point guard, and so, like, I think it's fair to say they have kind of, like, skated by early, but it's kind of like the opposite of. It's like the flip side of the Houston coin, where, like, the big selling point with Houston is, like, all right, they've got 3 top 30 guys that are going to keep it together while their freshmen end up flourishing eventually, but, like, they're going to win games because they have experience. And, like, this team doesn't have as much experience, or at least not as much experience playing together, and, like, they are figuring it out. And I think, like, AJ Diabonsa is, like we've said, is, like, as good. He might be the second best player in the country. Like, that, I don't think that's crazy to say. Like, and Saunders is a top 20 guy in the country, and Rob Wright is playing like a top 20 guy in the country. So I'll give BYU a little credit, and I do think if you had BYU Houston right now, I would hammer BYU in that game. But I also think I would hammer BYU, and then, you know, that would mean that Houston would win. But that's irrelevant.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm going to say BYU is a contender. I think they're pretty good. I think they got more to prove, too. Okay.
Let's go to our first and only SEC team. Let's go the Crimson Tide. So, what's your thoughts there?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm just going to say yes. I think they are. Okay. But, like, also it's Alabama, and I kind of always think they are. And, like, come March, they never are. So, like, I'm kind of, like, have, like, Bama fatigue, but it's like, you know, they lost to Purdue and they lost to Gonzaga. Like, we're going to get to Gonzaga. Like, I don't know.
You beat Illinois.
They're pretty good. Yeah, beat Illinois in Chicago.
Yeah.
Beat Clemson. You killed Maryland. Like, you know, And when they're going, I mean, you're going to see this weekend, they play Arizona on Saturday, but it's like when they're going like Nate Oates, I think there's also a part of me that's like, it was like funny to be like, oh, Nate Oates, like 3-pointers and free throws, and then like it doesn't work in the tournament, whatever. It's like, but why not? Like, why won't it work in the tournament? Like,
I mean, it did 2 years ago. It worked
right,
2 years
exactly.
ago.
And you can say like, oh, it doesn't, but it's like, there's no reason that the process of like logic and like efficiency wouldn't work. One team wins the national championship. That's just what happens.
Yep.
So like, they haven't done it yet, but in my heart of hearts, yeah, I think that they can win the national championship this year. And I don't even think they're the best team in the SEC, but that's beside the point. But yeah, I think they're a contender.
I'm also going to go contender. Offense wins games, and that's what Nate Oates does. And the tempo, what's his name? Ryan Hammer does the trapezoid of excellence, and tempo is one of the main key pieces of where it is. And I love Alabama's tempo. That signature win against Illinois, this good win at St. John's. You lose to Purdue at home, lose to Gonzaga in the Players era. But you got LeBaron Philon and you got Aiden Holloway. Those two alone, contender. Nate Oates is a really good basketball coach. He's Final Four in a down year, in my opinion, for Alabama. I think they're like a 6 or 7 seed. And then last year you go to the Elite Eight. So I don't see a reason why they couldn't do it again. The only issue, and it's always an issue with Nate Oates, is the defense. He preached on it all offseason of how this is the team's going to have really good defense. This team's going to have really good defense, and it's. I think it's been better. I think the defense has been better, but I still don't know. They're one of those teams that if they are hitting, then they're probably the best team in the country. But the defense is never going to, in my opinion, win them a basketball game. So that's a little bit concerning. But I love the style of play. I love the way they play. I'm going to go contender.
Yeah, I agree, and I do think people don't like people. I don't know. People act dumb. I think sometimes when it comes to sports, like just to kind of try to rationalize things when it's like the reality is like, hey, that team that got upset in the first round, they might have been just as good as the team that won the national championship. Yeah. You just don't know. Yeah. Your dumb brain says, well, there's no way, but obviously it was possible. Alabama,
it's like Purdue a few years back when they lost to Fairleigh Dickinson. Was Fairleigh Dickinson a better team than Purdue? No. No. Purdue was probably one of the best teams in the country that year.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah,
it just happens.
They're a 1 seed.
There's a dumb brain thing that sometimes happens with Bama, and I think a lot of other teams that play with a lot of pace, which is you go and you look at the amount of points they give up, and it's like, oh, they're giving up 80 points a game, they're giving up 85 points a game, or they're giving up whatever, and you think to yourself oh, their defense isn't good, but it's they're playing so fast.
Yeah,
that just
more
happens.
Possessions. It's more possessions.
Yeah, there's just more possessions. It's like Ohio State, allowing IUPUI to score 90 on them in the first game of the season, but it's just there were just so many possessions. There's so many opportunities that a team could shoot 40% from the field against Alabama and score 80 points. That's just the amount of opportunities they're going to get.
Yeah,
Bama's going to have 110. So
yeah,
I'm in on Bama as a contender,
and that's what I will say. Is I know their defense isn't going to win them games, and I say that because of the fact that it's not meant to. It's never going to, because it's not meant to. The teams, like you said, are always going to score more because the more pace you play with, the more possessions in a basketball game. But that's how Nate Oates wants to win games. He wants to have more possessions than you, to score more than you. So he doesn't care if it's 150 to 149. He scored 150 points, and that's what he's gonna be proud of, because he scored 150 points. That's just their style of play. Yeah. So, contender for them. Let's go back to the Big Ten here, and let's go. We already talked Michigan State, or no? I don't think we did.
No, I'll talk Michigan State.
Okay, go Michigan State.
I think Michigan State is a pretender.
Yeah.
Because I kind of always do with Michigan State. It's weird. I'm perennially doubting Tom Izzo for some reason, and I need to start realizing is like they're always going to be good, but that doesn't mean they're a national championship contender. And I'm not going to be like gaslit into thinking just because they're 9-1 right now that they are or 8-1, and they have the win over North Carolina, which is their best win. Because they beat Kentucky, but who cares? To be honest, they did kill them, so that is fair. That is a meaningful win. And Kohler,
Kohler doesn't everybody?
Awesome. Yeah, right. Exactly. It doesn't even click. And they also went down to the wire with Arkansas early on, and that game was so I can't. Even with them being 8-1, I can't get the taste of that Arkansas game out of my mouth. Especially after watching Jeremy Fears go 0 of 10 against Duke.
Yep.
Yep.
And then hype the crowd up while you're doing it. What are we doing here?
It's this Tom Izzo thing where it's God damn, these guys work so hard and they can beat anybody and they are good. But I just don't think their offense is good enough. And it's the same old story with Michigan State. And they're 8-1 in their top 10 team, which they coming into the season, what were they, 25 or unranked?
Yeah.
They weren't necessarily thought of as a top 10 team. So once again, a million times over, credit to Tom Izzo. He's an incredible head coach, and he's going to get the guys as pumped up. And they're going to work so fucking hard. It's crazy how hard they try. And that does matter so much in college. It doesn't win you a national championship. There's just not enough offensive talent. And Jeremy Fears is a good player, but he just doesn't have Braden Smith has elite playmaking combined with elite shot making, which is what makes him so valuable at point guard. Jeremy Fears is not an elite shot maker. So there's just he's and I just think that archetype of player is not a super valuable asset in modern day basketball, because if you got a guy that you can leave wide open on the 3-point line, then he's not providing you with enough value to support his 30 minutes a game. He's going to get you 10 assists, but at what cost when it comes to the actual flow of the game? So I'm going to say I don't think they're a contender. I think they're going to beat a contender in the tournament. That's what it's going to be. They're going to take down, maybe they beat Iowa State in the Sweet 16 or the Elite Eight or something, and it's oh, I guess they were, but then they get pummeled in the Final Four. I don't know. But I don't think so.
Yeah, I think pretender as well. I just from a sheer standpoint, the offense, it's kind of the same thing with Izzo at least the last few years, is that the offense just hasn't been very good. Defensively, great this year, but they had the North Carolina win. You lose to Duke and kind of an ugly basketball game. Like I said, Jeremiah Fears went 0 for 10 in that game. So and then you beat a very, very, very overhyped preseason Kentucky team who, when you beat them, you're thinking, we just beat Kentucky by 20. And then you beat Arkansas by 3. You struggle against Colgate on the opening night. That's right. But no, contender for Michigan State. But I also agree with the take that they're probably pretender. They're probably going to beat a contender at some point during the tournament. That we're going to be oh shit, Tom Izzo's going to do it again. He's going to get another one, and then they don't. Let's see.
I would just take Purdue over them. I just think Purdue was just so much better than them. They're just better.
Well, we can knock out the top two here fairly quickly, I feel like. So we'll go Michigan. What's your thoughts on Michigan?
Michigan's the best team in the country, and I don't even think it's close. It's just the fucking insane how good they are. So it's not even. It's they've literally won their last 4 games by 30 or more. I mean, they lost. I think they beat Villanova last night by 28, and that broke their streak of 40-point wins, 30-point wins. And the only blips on their season are they go to OT with Wake Forest in their second game, and Wake Forest is good. So or at least they're solid. and then TCU, which is hilarious. But they go down to the wire with TCU. Ever since that TCU game, they have been on a mission and
yeah.
Just a reminder that Ohio State could have had Dusty May, by the way, if anyone's curious. Not that it matters, not that I'm bitter or mad about it, but it is a fact that we could have. Could have been watching Danny Wolfball last year.
Yeah.
Could have been here.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't have. It's Ohio State. But, yeah, no, they're the best. They're incredible. They're undoubtedly a national championship contender. And also, they're kind of dispelling the whole point guard thing because, Elliot Cadeau is good, but he's not great. And
no.
He hasn't been that great. And Gale is a good player, and he's not a point guard though. It's really just been just pace. And they just play that fast break. They play such good defense and they just go on you. And they're so fucking tough. They're so tough. And they just put the pedal to the metal and they don't let you come close. So and they're incredible. I mean, they're for sure contenders.
Yeah, not much else to say there. Contender, best team in the country.
Imagine
I think
one
it's
guy that's
yeah, they're pretend. I mean, I was that guy at the start of the year. I was Michigan at top 10, and they're like, "Here you go, Bryce. I'll make you look stupid." So yeah, they're phenomenal. After that TCU game, I don't know what they said in that locker room after that game when they ultimately beat probably the second best team in the country in TCU on the road. But whatever was said in that locker room has just flipped a switch on this team, and they're just yeah, we're going to beat everybody by 30 plus, and we're going to continue to do that all year until we win the national championship. So, yeah, contender.
You know who deserves who's just awesome is Mara. Mara.
Oh yeah.
Is just such a ridiculous basketball player, and he's so you know how Edie, they just gave him the ball every time and it sucked.
Yeah.
But when you have one of these huge guys and you just throw him in there for 20 minutes and it's oh my god, you can't score on him, and then you just give it to him at the free throw line. He dunks from the free throw line pretty much. It's just incredible.
No, I was watching. I watched last year when he was at UCLA when we played them in the round of 32. I was just he's going to be last year. His development from last year to this year has just been. It's been insane to me. Last year he was a player. This year he's a basketball player. So to see that from year to year, yeah, he's been phenomenal. Arizona,
maybe player of the year.
Yeah, probably. Arizona.
Yeah, Arizona is a contender 1,000%. Obviously, I'm not gonna try to get way too cute with it. I will say though, they killed Auburn, but their wins against good teams have been close. There is they have gone down to the wire with UCLA and Florida, and neither of those teams are necessarily exceptional. So there is a part of me that's they're gonna play Alabama on Saturday. If they beat Alabama and if they beat Alabama beat them down, I'll be okay, respect. But I think Bama could. I if Bama played Michigan right now, I'd be oh, Michigan's gonna win. But Bama playing Arizona, I'm I think that's a game. So yes, they're contenders, of course, because obviously, how could you say they're not? But I don't think. I do think Michigan, and I would say Purdue and Iowa State. I would say pick over them still. Maybe that's stupid, but that would be my honest take.
Yeah. Yeah, that feels very accurate. I don't think Arizona's up with the Michigan level of dominance right now. Definitely a contender for sure, but what Michigan and even what Iowa State has done to this point, I think has been more impressive to me than what Arizona has done, and that's crazy to say because Arizona has been phenomenal so far. But I just think body of work and style of play and just Michigan's sheer dominance, I would put them on a different level than Arizona. But I don't think anyone can sit here and say that Arizona's a pretender at this point.
No, I agree.
Definitely a contender.
I guess it's they have wins. So they beat Florida, who I think now in hindsight I think Nikki and I said this on last pod, but you tell me if you agree or if this is crazy. But like, they're probably looking at a 7 to 9 seed. Like that's if you were to make a bracket right now, that's where they'd be, right? And so let's say we're adjusting our perception to that, and then a UCLA team that has looked fine, but like lost to Cal and lost to Arizona, and Arizona only beat them by 4, and I watched that whole game and it came down to the wire.
Yeah.
So like it's like that's a good win, but like it's not that great. You beat UConn with 2 of their starters out.
Mm-hmm.
Barely beat UConn with 2 of their starters out, and like you kick the shit out of Auburn, on the 6th, and like that's a good win, of course, but like I don't know. I think if we redo this in, let's say, February, there might be a chance we're like, no, they actually kind of are pretenders because they probably got elevated into a different category because they beat Florida in the first game of the season, and that.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. All right, so wow. Okay. We'll put it on a graphic, and then we'll come back in February and we'll see where your thoughts are then. So we'll redo this. Yeah, I wasn't going to bring that up. I was not going to bring that up because I figured I already know who your pick's going to be. So I was not going to bring that up to this point. Yeah, they are. I was wrong. Who would have thought I was wrong? Let's see. So we got UConn, Gonzaga, and Louisville. So let's run through these real quick. UConn. I feel like could be a good topic here because they're a little bit everywhere in my opinion, and I think I'm intrigued to see here. I'm intrigued. Yeah. 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 I'm glad we've seen the body of work that we've seen from UConn to this point. With the win against Illinois, with the win against BYU, the win at Kansas, beating Florida last night because they played Texas on Friday, but after that, you go into Big East play where you're not playing. The next best team you play is St. John's, who, is not on the level of an Illinois or not on the level of an Arizona or a BYU. So I think we've learned a lot right now about UConn, but it's going to be hard to tell as the season goes on of like, okay, how do we evaluate them now because they're not going to be playing. Just looking at KenPom, the Big East sucks. It's truthfully, like, the Big East is horrible. All across the board. So I'm glad we saw what we've saw so far because I don't think there's going to be much competitiveness. I know it's conference play, so there's always going to be competition and things like that. But like, I don't know how battle tested they're going to be outside of maybe a St. John's or maybe a Seton Hall or compete with them on a night. So we'll see. But yeah, definitely a contender, like you said, 2-time national champion Dan Hurley. He's kind of beat everybody to this point outside of Arizona, but that was without their 2 best players. So getting healthy, yeah, contender. Yeah. Mm. Yeah. But here's what I will say, and what I hate from a UConn standpoint is I kind of said this about Duke later in the year when they did lose to Houston in the Final Four. Is when you're playing like the ACC was historically bad last year. They didn't have a game where they were really competitive. Like it wasn't a competitive game during ACC play. There was a few, but like I think going through the season where you're just kind of beating up on teams, I think that affects you going into these March Madness games because they're all down to the wire. Like, obviously, maybe some of the first rounds are not, blah, 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 whatever. Sweet 16 and on, though, like, these games start to, like, when the pressure builds on, how will UConn respond? And I know they played a tough non-con schedule, but, like, it's I hate it for them because I kind of lose trust in teams that don't play tough teams throughout the year because of that reason, if that makes sense. So, like, down the stretch, I'm going to trust a team that's played in the Big 12 over a team that's played in the Big East because night in and night out, that Big 12 team is playing down-to-the-wire games, and they're going through these situations late game and things like that where UConn's probably not going to do that very often this year. Throughout the Big East play. So that's one concern I will say on UConn, but they do have Dan Hurley as their basketball coach, so that kind of helps me out a little bit. Yeah. 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 Yep. No. Yep. Yep. Yeah. That's kind of where my head is as well. So Gonzaga, what's your thoughts? Yeah, that's kind of where my head was. And you Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I'm sitting in a bar when you text me this and I'm like, "Okay, okay." I didn't bet it. I did not bet it. And then I look up to the score. I wasn't totally locked into the game, but I look up at the score and Michigan's up by like 20 plus and I'm like, "Oh. Oh. Okay." That's fair. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, they got the Bama win. Yeah. Metrics love them, like always. The metrics love them. Ken Palm loves Gonzaga. I don't know what the love for Gonzaga is, but my God. As he should, though. As he should. As he should. Um, but no, I'm going to go Pretender. They're going to have a fantastic record at the end of the year because they play in the WCC where there's good teams there, and I'm not hating. There's no hate. I know the love. I get it. But it's kind of like the Big East thing for me. Like, I think that's always kind of had an issue. I think that's been an issue for Gonzaga throughout all of this, and like with Mark Few is like, how battle tested are you when it comes down to March? You play, and they're playing these teams in November and December, and that's all they can do because they can only control what their conference is. That's not on Mark Few, but like year after year after year, it's continuously been the same old Gonzaga. So. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. 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 All right, last team, Louisville. Yeah. Yeah. And the team they did play, Arkansas, they lost, giving up 89 points. Like, I think the talent is so there for Louisville, though. Like, the build of this team, I love. I love Isaac McNeely. I love Mikael Brown. Hadley, Adrian Wood. Like, I love the build of this team. I just don't know. I don't know yet with them. It's like I'm going to put them as a pretender for now because I do think as of this point I think they're a pretender because I don't think they have that big win, and I don't expect them to get that big win next Tuesday in Thompson Bowling Arena at Food City Center against Tennessee. But it's an opportunity for them to go into a great crowd and to kind of get that non-con win. Like, I know the jury's out on Tennessee. We don't know. But that's a good non-con win. I just don't know if they have that just yet. Like, they beat Indiana. How good's Indiana? I don't know. They beat Kentucky where they were blowing them out, and then they let them come back, and that game could have went either way. And then you go on the road and lose to Arkansas, who, jury's out on them as well. So it's like, for the teams that I'm putting in contender, I'm not putting Louisville. Correct. Yes. Yeah. 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 Oh, I know. It's crazy. It's insane. I don't know what like Kim Palm and how he gets his metrics. Like I don't know the fine lines and details on like how does he get his top teams? Like how do you go from 1 to 365? But like if you just look at Kentucky's like offensive efficiency, just the basics, defensive efficiency, like adjusted tempo, effective field goal percent, like 3-point percent, like it just doesn't add up to me on how they're still a top 20 in the metrics. Like I don't get it. They don't have a win over a team with a pulse. Like their best win is 198 in Kimpom at Valparaiso is their best win, and their good loss is a 3-point loss at home to North Carolina. The rest are blowout losses. Like no. Yeah. I don't the Ken Palm thing until like we get throughout the year. I don't really put much like stock into it just yet. Like I would say like midway through conference play is when Ken Palm finally starts to like. We'll find out who really is good on Ken Palm. Like Gonzaga's always up there for some reason. I don't know what their metrics like say, but like I think you'll eventually find out like through Ken Palm where teams are. But like right now, there's just some teams that I'm looking at. And I'm like, how? Like how are they still where they're at? Like I'm gonna be honest. Like what does Tennessee deserve to be Ken Palm ranked 18 right now? Like that's just my opinion. I think we can do. I think we can turn it around. Yes, but like I'm going based off of what I've saw these last 3 nights. I just don't see it right now. Could we play like the team that beat Houston? Yes, but I don't know. I don't know what the metrics are. It doesn't make much sense to me at all. About to get on a Kim Palm rant. Kim Palm's gonna hate the mid range. Great. Yeah. So you hate the AP poll is what you're saying. You think it's fake, should not be used. Why do we even have it? Basically, is what you're saying. It's useless. I mean, we're 7-3 in ranks, so St. John's is 5-3 in ranks. So I mean, yeah, but no, we can wrap it up real quick if you want to, and we can just say 2 teams outside of that top 12 that we think could be a contender. We don't have to necessarily discuss in depth, but just kind of say who you think. Yeah. 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 Yeah, I'm going to go Illinois just from a sheer standpoint of the roster construction, and I've seen them play live and from watching my team, and just like I keep saying, the interior to exterior passing for Illinois and the way they space the floor and have the ability to knock down shots and the size of their just every lineup they throw at you, it's just a nightmare matchup for teams. So I think Illinois should be right there with maybe, I don't know, Alabama and like a Houston maybe. I think they're that good. I think Brad Underwood has done a fantastic job this year in building this team out. I think he's got what he wants in his style of play. He's got all of his foreigners that he ultimately just loves to bring in, and I really like this Illinois team, and I think they could really shake up the Big Ten this year. I think there's so many good Big Ten teams this year. The top of the Big Ten is just stupid. It's stupid good with Illinois, Michigan State, Purdue, Michigan. Like, it's insane. It's insane. Not to mention Ohio State. Like, the top of the Big Ten is just there. So, but now, yeah, Illinois is my contender outside of the top 12. Yeah, that's where I figured you were going. Yeah. I'm gonna give LSU a shout out. Shout out to them boys in Baton Rouge. They're playing good basketball right now. I would say that's one of my biggest shocks of the year so far. Has just been. I'm not saying they're like a contender or even a pretender at this point, but like from where they were to where they are now has been. I mean, I was like bottom of the SEC with LSU this year, and I don't think they're anywhere close to being that. So yeah, shout out to LSU. They're playing well. Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Unfortunately, I am too. I hate it because that was my Big 12 darling, but I'm out. I'm out. They are. They are. Mm. Yeah. Look at that. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Cool. We'll come back and see. We'll see what team is even in the top 12 by the time we come back and talk about this in February. One of us will be right. This will be the year that there's going to be some team outside of the top 12 that's going to win it all. I don't know what team it is because I feel like after that, like your Vanderbilts are good, North Carolina's, Illinois are good, but like after that list, it's like there's kind of a drop-off of the level of play. But It no, it doesn't. It doesn't. But it's early, and I'm not gonna. I kind of just unbought stock on Texas Tech, but like it's so early in the season. Like we're 10 games in for some teams, 9 games in for some teams. Like just because you're not a contender doesn't mean you can't make a run in March or you can't make a Final Four. So we still have hope over here on Rocky Top. Maybe. You know. Yeah, how crazy would that be? We'd have to do a live pod at the Final Four. If Tennessee makes a Final Four, I would drop whatever I had, however much money. If I had to take out a loan, I'm there because that's a once in a lifetime thing. So it doesn't matter the cost. I'm there. Literally once in a lifetime. Well, actually, not even literal right now. So, I don't know. We'll see. You would think. I probably won't be alive, but. Yep. Peace.